I am 37 male in a relationship with my stepsister 29 female, and our family have found out and don't approve or want us to come to Christmas dinner together. What do we do in this situation? Edit. At 23:06 p.m. UK time we've decided we're going to spend Christmas together. It's really not as straightforward as the title. Bear with me. When I was 16, my dad fell in love with and ended up leaving my mom for a nurse 28 female now 49 he met while he was in hospital. They ended up having another child together, once married now 19 male, and she already had a daughter from a previous relationship. She was 8 when they met. Edited to add, I didn't meet her when she was 8 though. I think I first met her at 12 after my brother was born. I hadn't seen my dad for a few years after he left my mom. Even though me and my dad aren't estranged, we aren't close. There's sometimes been whole years in between when we've seen each other, and then when we do see each other, it's at a wedding or a funeral. He's always been busy with his new family. As a result, I am not that close to my brother and definitely not my SS. Before this year, if I said I saw her half a dozen times in my life, that would be generous. And the last time I saw her before recently was 2013. My aunt died at the start of the year, before COVID, so I saw them all at the funeral again. Despite the situation, me and her really hit it off and spoke for hours that day. It turned out she's a tattooist and she offered to do some work for me if I wanted, so I agreed and we exchanged numbers, and she tattooed me right before lockdown. And we knew then we liked each other. I actually asked her out and were due to go on a date, but we couldn't for a few months. We did keep in touch though and had virtual dates. And once lockdown ended we actually hooked up, which was amazing, and started going out as boyfriend and girlfriend. It was crazy because she admitted she had a crush on me from the first time she saw me as a teen. And that the very reason she was a tattooist is because she saw mine as a kid and loved it so much she wanted to be a tattooist, which was so flattering. And admittedly I've been single for a few years, so to fall for someone as hard as I have for her is amazing. We also are parents. She has an 11-year-old and I have a 12-year-old, and definitely are on the same page about potentially having more. So we obviously have been worried about telling family. She does love my dad, as his stepdad calls him, Pops, and has seen him more in the last 21 years than I have. Our half-bro found out accidentally a few months ago and has actually kept it secret to his credit. So basically this year, I wanted to spend Christmas with her as my mom has a new partner and want to do their own thing, and my daughter is with her mom. We were looking at breaking it to everyone, and breaking it earlier than Christmas. So we told them a couple of weeks ago we're an item and we want to go to family Christmas at my dad's or mom's together. Admittedly, I haven't spent Christmas with my dad since he and my mom were together, so I was thinking it would be really nice. Basically, they haven't taken it very well. Her mom's acting all weird as if it's incest or I've took advantage of her. She's ducking 29 FFS, and my dad's acting as if he's all disappointed and trying to lecture her and shit. My mom's acting really odd over it too, although I think it's because it's more the other woman's daughter, less the relation. The only one who's had our back is my half-brother, who's been amazingly supportive and trying to fight our corner. In fact, his exact words were, "If you guys have kids, it'll make me a full uncle." It's making me really appreciate him a lot more. The worst thing is, they're acting as they're not keen on us coming to Christmas dinner. As if it'll make it all weird. Which makes us feel awful. They flat out don't approve and don't want us to be together. I really don't know what to do. We obviously love each other and want to be together, but this really puts strain on us. We don't want to be apart or alone at Christmas either. But with all the restrictions we don't know what to do for the best, and would be better for a family thing. We're not blood related at all, and don't have a familial relationship, so we just see ourselves as a couple. Should we talk to them more and say we want to come anyway? Bite the bullet and not see each other to give people time to adjust? Honestly, any help is appreciated. Too long didn't read. In a relationship with my stepsister, and we love each other very much. We have told family and want to come to Christmas dinner together, but they're not happy and don't approve of us. I mean, it is a little weird just because she's close with your dad, but you aren't related and didn't grow up as siblings. It is probably going to take some time for family to get used to, so you'll probably have to sit this Christmas out. But if you two stay together for a long period of time, then they'll have to come around eventually. At least some of them will. The best thing is to not force it on people and just give it time. Yeah, that's the crazy thing. She's actually closer to my old man and has a better relationship with him than I do. Maybe time is all we need. At least if we're in it for the long haul, people will get used to it. As kids, the two of you had to make some big adjustments to suit your dad and stepmom's relationship changes. They are adults and can sure as heck make some mental adjustments for you now. The biggest concern I'd have if I was in their shoes would be about what would happen if you broke up. And for you personally, that could be incredibly tough, because in a situation like that you'd not only be losing a partner, but based on the history, it sounds like you may also face the risk of losing the newfound reconnections with the rest of the family. The biggest concern I'd have if I was in their shoes would be about what would happen if you broke up. And for you personally, that could be incredibly tough, because in a situation like that you'd not only be losing a partner, but based on the history, It sounds like you may also face the risk of losing the newfound reconnections with the rest of the family. Shit, yeah, that's a really good point. If you guys have kids, those kids are going to have a rough time doing family trees in elementary school. Laughing my butt off. Second story. I 16 female don't want to live with my dad's step family anymore because my step brother's 16 male has been perving on me and I feel uncomfortable. I still don't know what to do say. I wasn't sure whether to post my story question here or am I the beehole. I ended up going there but they said my problem was too big for that sub and to come here. So here I am. Okay, backstory I guess. I met Mike when we both started middle school. He's had a crush on me since I could remember and didn't try to hide it. It was a running joke with friends classmates that he was in love with me because he would constantly buy me snacks, drinks, pay for my lunch before I could, give me tons of gifts on Valentine's Day like stuffed animals and flowers, and generally take any chance he could to be close to me. He'd regularly ask me out at least once every week or so. It made me uncomfortable but I just kept politely telling him no. I wasn't interested in dating him or any other guys. I found out that was because I am a lesbian. Well, sometime before I was 14 my dad told me he'd been seeing a nice lady for a while and they'd hit it off and were going to be getting married. This was pretty shocking, the marriage part, not the dating part. My dad's not super subtle but I was happy for him. He'd been pretty down since he and mom separated when I was 10. I'd been living with both mom and dad 50-50 until my last years of elementary school when mom had to move for work. I got along better with dad so I stayed with him so I wouldn't have to move. I still see mom every summer though. So before I'd turned 14 dad's fiancée Abby moved into our house with her son. Her son Mike. Dad said she had a kid my age but he'd never said it was Mike and now he and I were forced to live together. Mike was beyond happy that we lived together and took every chance to be around me constantly. The only place I am safe from him is my bedroom because there's a lock. He constantly wanted to hang out as new step siblings but everything he wanted to do was date couple stuff. Going to the movies, getting food alone, studying alone, etc. It was mentally exhausting being around him almost 24 hours a day. And whenever I'd refuse to sit by him, or hang out with him, or play nice with him his mom would gripe to my dad that I was being argumentative and rude. This led to my dad talking to me like the problem was with me. He'd tell me blended families were tough to navigate but me being difficult wasn't making things easier. He said if Mike was willing to try to build a bond then I should be too. Then I'd be forced to sit by Mike while we watched movies together as a family and it made me feel crazy. Well, not too much later I happened to catch Mike talking on mic with his online game friends and he was talking about me and how we were both basically dating and it made me so mad. I stormed into his room and yelled at him that we weren't dating and he was creepy to keep trying to date me after I told him no 100 times on top of us being step siblings now. I thought he'd muted his mic but I was wrong because his friends all started laughing at him and one called him sick and he yelled at me to get out. I did and things got easier after that. He'd stopped hanging off me all the time and left me alone. Things were easier, nicer at home and I was happy. But then some time after I turned 14 and our parents were married those gross "what are you doing stepbro" memes got really popular I guess and Mike found them and all his creepy behavior came back but worse. He sent me some messages of the memes and said they were LOL so funny and wouldn't stop bringing them up. He refused to call me anything besides stepsis and told me to only call him stepbro. He wouldn't respond to anything else. Living with him became unbearable. He'd be creepily flirty and say gross suggestive stuff to me when our parents weren't home. He'd also put stuff on high shelves so I would have to stretch to reach, or put stuff of mine in weird places like inside the dryer, washing machine or similar places. I felt like I was living in hell. Then we were all stuck at home together, you know why, and it wasn't so bad. He's not overly gross or obnoxious when dad or Abby are around so it was a temporary peace. But then dad had to go back to work when stuff sorta chilled out and Abby was still working from home but she was in her office all day so I may as well have been alone with Mike all the time. I've been locking myself in my bedroom all day since that's the only time I get to not deal with Mike. At the start of this year I began dating my GF cat and I eventually told her about Mike. All the weird shit he does. His creepy behavior. The step bro meme. Everything she knew about him being into me from school and she said I should ask Reddit and then I went to that other sub but now I am here. I want to go live with my aunt. She said I could stay with her but I haven't told her why exactly I want to leave yet and I know I need to tell her why I am so desperate to leave home but it's so embarrassing. I don't think I can just come out and say my stepbrother is perving on me. Has been for like 2 years by now. How do you talk to an adult about weird porno references, step sibling fetishes, harassment, etc.? But I have to tell her. And I am hoping once she knows she can help me tell dad and Abby. I am dreading telling my aunt. There's no way I'd be able to talk to my dad or Abby alone about this crap. I am just not sure how to begin. Anyone got any solid advice? I am stuck and uncomfortable and don't know how to take the next step. Oh honey, you need to tell a trusted adult as soon as you are able to. This is mentally exhausting on you and has been for quite some time. It sounds like you've been doing everything you can to stay safe. And I'm glad you've got Kat in your corner. Are you in school? Do you have a guidance counselor? Do you and your mother have a good relationship? Is she an option? Or are you leaning towards your aunt because she is local? I think telling your aunt could be a great step. You feel unsafe in your own home and have felt that way for quite some time. I know there's a lot of weird feelings about this. But you don't have anything to be embarrassed of. Rooting for you. You clearly know how you feel in regards to Mike and that he is making you uncomfortable. That is no way a healthy environment to live in. I think confiding in your aunt would be a great first step. Just to get someone, an adult, to be there for you and support you when you do get around to talking to your dad. You shouldn't feel uncomfortable in your own house and Mike is not respecting you or your wishes. It is behavior that will not and should not be tolerated in any circumstance and he needs a serious wake-up call. Third story. My girlfriend 20 female is ashamed about my 21 male part-time retail job. Is there anything that can be done to change her attitude? New. Me and her have been dating for just under 3 years now. I am a recent university graduate with a pretty good degree, whilst she is still studying for hers. For the past few years whilst I've been in education, I've worked weekends in a department store to gain a little bit of extra cash. Trust me, it's definitely not something I want to do as a career, but I enjoy it and I've got many friends there. My girlfriend, however, cannot stand the fact that I work as a retail assistant, and somewhat looks down on me for working as one. In her eyes, when I am at work, I am an embarrassment and unattractive, despite me actively applying for graduate jobs within my degree field. For the first year or so, she made no comments about my work, but after about a year she started encouraging me to quit and live off my parents. When I refused and explained that I didn't want to rely on my parents for money, she quickly began to detest it all. I often explain to her that I work to earn money and give me something to put on a CV, but all she says is you'll never get a job in your field with a retail assistant position on your CV. I've tried talking to her about it, telling her how it all makes me feel, but I am often met with unsympathetic comments such as get another job then, or you can't be getting angry at me for pushing you. In the very few times she's actually attempted to be sympathetic, she's claimed that her high school made her that way. She attended a very prestigious, selective grammar school, but I still don't accept that as an excuse. Pretty much every time we have an argument, it's about me going to work or me going to hang out with my work friends who she claims are all uneducated and lazy despite most of them being at university. Also, she claims she's told none of her friends about my position, and that she's created some kind of cover story as to where I am on weekends. She lives in another town a bit of a distance away, so none of her friends will find out. It's really been getting me down lately, and I felt at times about ending the relationship, but I want to try and change her attitude and for her to respect what I do. Obviously, I won't be in the role too much longer, but respect towards people is an important factor I consider in a relationship. So is there anything that can be done to change her attitude? Or does anyone have any general advice? Hope this post is alright, as I don't normally post on Reddit. Thanks guys. Too long didn't read. Girlfriend is embarrassed about my retail job and constantly puts me down about it. I am a recent university graduate, so I've kept the job whilst seeking employment in my degree field to make sure I have a bit of money coming in. Whenever I talk about work she won't listen or make a rude remark, start an argument. She takes an active dislike to my work friends for no reason at all, claiming they're uneducated and have no future. She uses the excuse the attitudes of my grammar school made me this way when confronted about it. Is there anything that can be done to change her view and for her to respect me? If your girlfriend is not working, she honestly has no right to complain. She doesn't get to be a bum and then complain about your job. She's a bum making zero, which is a lot less than whatever you're making working retail. Having worked retail in the past, it is hard work and there is no shame whatsoever in working in retail. As a current PhD student, being a retail manager helped me learn how to manage a classroom more than anything I learned in any of the useless trainings or seminars I had to attend. If your girlfriend can't see the value in hard work and developing people skills, she's an idiot. To be honest with you, I think you should dump her. She is not a good person. A good person would see that you are working, trying to support yourself, and commend you for your work ethic and commitment, not shame you for having a job that they think looks bad for them. A good person also certainly would not encourage you to live off your parents. That is something a narcissist would do, and it is impossible to have a healthy relationship with a narcissist. Find a girlfriend who is proud of your work ethic. The type of person who would sneer at someone working extra hard to get ahead in life isn't someone with empathy. She's condescending and feels others are beneath her. If you stay with her, her attitude will appear in more and more areas of your relationship. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.